What's up, everyone? We're back.
Dr. Maxfield.
Dr. Shah, and we took a little bit of a hiatus. You guys may not notice the hiatus because I think the videos are going to continue to roll out, but it's been a while since we shot, so maybe we're a little rusty. We don't know. We'll find out.
Definitely noticed there were some comments about inconsistencies, so thank you for hanging with us.
Really? Okay, so we're gonna try to post once a week at least, but it's sometimes we get backed up with things, but life happens. But today we have a really exciting video. Today we're gonna be talking about overpriced skincare. Yeah, so this one kind of bugs me because I feel like when I was getting into skincare, I actually thought it was going to be cost prohibitive. I thought it was going to be way too expensive to invest in skincare and invest in healthier skin. And the more I learned about the skin, the more I realized that it was an absolute scam. You can find great products at a very bargain price, so you don't really need to spend a lot of money on skincare. There are some products that do have their benefits at higher prices, and we'll talk about that in a different video. But today we're just going to talk about products that we think are completely overpriced and that you don't need to spend a lot of money on.
So we're going to help you just take that cash, allocate it, save it for something else that's worth it, simplify your skincare routine, and don't spend it here.
Maybe you can invest in Bitcoin. Definitely, this is not financial information. This is not financial advice. Do not invest in, maybe invest in Bitcoin. I don't know.
Yeah, my Dogecoin isn't doing well.
We live and we learn. All right, so overpriced skincare products you don't need to buy. Here we go. Yeah, so I don't think we're gonna make a lot of friends with this video, but we may make some enemies, some new enemies, but hopefully we'll save you guys some money. So first up, skin fridges.
Skin fridges. This is one of the first comments that I actually read on our YouTube channel ever. It was, what do you think about skin fridges? And now about a year later, we're going to answer that question.
A little delayed response here, but so this is a trend that we see all the time, people storing their beauty products in fridges. It may be nice. It may be something nice. You want to have a little fridge in your bathroom to store your skincare products. Do you need it?
Do you need it? No.
Yeah,
no.
Absolutely not. So you definitely don't need a special fridge for your skincare products. There are products that may benefit from storing them in the fridge, but you could just store them in your regular fridge. It doesn't need to be a special skincare fridge by any means. But really, the argument that you hear from people about having skincare fridges is to increase the longevity of the products, to make them last longer, essentially. But products are actually made to last a certain amount of time. That's why we have preservatives in our skincare product. If you had like natural homemade products, like with like aloe vera in them that you actually cut off of a plant, you may want to store that in a fridge. But our products actually have a certain amount of time that they're expected to stay, regardless of whether you put them in the fridge or not.
So the overarching rule that I've always lived by, like my wife always say like, oh, should I put this in the fridge? And then we come back from the grocery store. I'm like, was it in the fridge when we bought it? And so I'd say no. If it's not in the fridge when you bought it, I think it's fairly safe to assume you don't need to put it in the fridge after you open it, unless it says refrigerate after opening. I've really not seen that on skincare products.
Yeah, I haven't seen that on skincare products, but there are a few things that you may want to put in the fridge. One would be maybe a moisturizer if you have eczema or really itchy skin. If people have like a burning sensation or an itching sensation, cooling the skin may actually have a benefit to offset that itchiness. And so you may want to store your moisturizer in the fridge if you have something like eczema or atopic dermatitis.
Yeah, it's actually similar to how menthol works and can be soothing, not for inflammation, but for itch. It actually acts on the same nerve receptors that itch mediates through, so does temperature. And so they all act on the same nerve, and they all decrease the sensation of itch just by highlighting and inhibiting that one spot.
So that's one thing you may want to do. The other thing is like in the morning, I suppose, if you had like an eye cream, you could put that in a fridge because it could help to depuff theoretically, because cold causes vasoconstriction, and that vasoconstriction may help to depuff the skin temporarily. Do you need to put your eye creams or your moisturizers in the fridge for most people? The answer is no.
Okay, so I do hear things about specific ingredients you'd put on the fridge. No, the ones you could think about most, okay, the most unstable ingredient that probably comes to mind is vitamin C. And so let's use this as our poster child. Vitamin C, a lot of the studies on stability have come from produce, just because, that's actually really important to people selling produce, is how long is this orange or vitamin C going to stay stable if I'm selling it to you and shipping it from, overseas to America. So they have found that, vitamin C is actually fairly stable at normal temperatures that we can survive in. Like from 60 degrees to 113 degrees, one study said, is where vitamin C stays stable. And so if your house is outside of those ranges, one, kudos to you. You are a superhuman. Two, then your vitamin C may need to be in the fridge.
So refrigerating vitamin C may increase the longevity of the product. How long is it going to increase it for? We have no no idea. We just know maybe longer. If you leave your fruits in the fridge versus leaving them out, we know that they tend to last longer when you leave your produce in the fridge. They tend to not ripen as quickly. So we can assume to some degree that it will increase the half-life of your vitamin C serum. But mostly what causes degradation of vitamin C is actually oxidation, or actually just exposure to the air. So having it in a sealed container is actually going to be much more important than having it in a fridge.
Yeah, totally agree. And then the counter side would be like niacinamide. This is an ultra stable ingredient. Actually, a lot of the studies with niacinamide and vitamin C together not only looked at how they interacted by pH, but also temperature. And again, the studies show that at normal human levels, both were pretty stable. So it may help, but not necessary.
Now, I will say this. What do I do in practice?
Do you have a skin fridge?
I don't have a skin fridge. However, they did try to send me a skin fridge. I said no. But I do keep my vitamin C L-ascorbic acid form in the fridge. I just do, because that's what I was always told. But ultimately, you probably don't need to. L-ascorbic acid is the form of vitamin C that you would want to refrigerate. There are a lot of other forms of vitamin C, THD ascorbate, magnesium ascorbate. You don't need to refrigerate those forms for sure. Those are very stable forms of vitamin C. However, you may want to refrigerate your L-ascorbic acid, but you don't have to.
Yep.
So overall, there may be some benefits to having a skin fridge, but is it something we need to spend money on, or is it overpriced?
I mean, it's overpriced. Whatever the price, it's overpriced.
Exactly. You don't need it. Don't buy it. Save your money for something else. All right. So next up, expensive hyaluronic acid serums. What do you think?
I think people might think we hate hyaluronic acid, and we really don't. It's overhyped. It says it does a lot of things. People spend too much money on it. So there it is. It's overpriced.
Overhyped. It's like, actually probably the new thing that's overhyped is like the word collagen. Like people just say like collagen cream, collagen powder. Yeah. We'll talk more about this, but ultimately hyaluronic acid is overhyped, but it does have benefits, and I do use it in my skincare routine. And so do you.
I do too.
So we both like hyaluronic acid, but we do think that it should be reasonably priced. Hyaluronic acid is a kind of expensive molecule to manufacture, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be $300. So for example, Dr. Barbara Sturm has a hyaluronic acid serum that is $300. You don't need to spend $300 on hyaluronic acid serum.
Yeah, I'm like cringing. It's so hard to critique these people because a lot of thought probably went into this. But at the same time, yeah, I just don't think that amount of money is necessary for an ingredient that moisturizes-ish. And it can plump. It like temporarily plumps. I give it that. Temporary plumps, moisturizes-ish, needs help even in that.
Right. And we know that when we look at hyaluronic acid, the most important question you can ask anybody that's making a hyaluronic acid serum is, what is the molecular weight of the hyaluronic acid that we're dealing with? We know that high weight molecular acid, high molecular weight hyaluronic acid doesn't penetrate into the skin, but the super, super, super tiny, very, we don't even use this in skincare, can potentially get through the epidermis layer of the skin. But most hyaluronic acid that we use in skincare doesn't get beneath the epidermis, right? So it's not even penetrating into your skin to have a noticeable effect in your dermis. It's really just sitting on top of your skin to temporarily plump and hydrate the skin. So it's not something you need to spend a lot of money on. Now, is the serum from Dr. Barbara Sturm a good serum? It's not bad, actually. Ingredient list looks great. I haven't tried it personally, but it does have a blend of hyaluronic acid, both low weight and high weight, which is what you want to look for. But for $300, you can find something more in the $30 range for about 10% of the price.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, if I'm going to spend $300, like hundreds of dollars on something, I'm actually in like the procedure ballpark. I'm looking for something that's as effective as a professional medical physician grade procedure.
I agree. You're going to see much more benefit with a procedure than you would see with this serum over here. Some alternatives to something like this would be the L'Oreal Revitalift 1.5% pure hyaluronic acid serum. That's a great option. It's also a blend of hyaluronic acid, so it both has high weight and low weight hyaluronic acid. One penetrates into this epidermis layer, and the other one sits on top of the skin to both hydrate and have anti-inflammatory properties. So it's the perfect blend. It's also fragrance-free. A great formula would be an equivalent and 1/10 of the price.
The next one that's going to be really good for you is the Inculist hyaluronic acid. It has the Matrix 3000. That's pretty much like the Nimbus 3000s of hyaluronic acid.
So basically, this also has a blend of both low and high weight. You're going to hear this as a theme. Looking at the weight of the molecular acid is really important. So here's my general rule with hyaluronic acid. As far as the weights are concerned, you either want one that is pure high molecular weight hyaluronic acid, like the Vichy Mineral 89, or you want a blend of low and high. The reason why is because low alone was found to actually be pro-inflammatory. It actually makes inflammation worse. But if you combine it with high weight, it can actually have anti-inflammatory properties. So when you combine these two together, you get the best of both worlds, one that penetrates into the epidermis and the other one that sits on top and has anti-inflammatory and moisturizing properties. So in my opinion, look for a blend of the two. So for example, the Inculus one has that as well.
Yeah. And I still love the Vichy 89. A year later, I'm actually still using it. It's nice.
It's lasted a while for me. I don't know. I'm
it has
just finishing one bottle now.
I might be too, actually. And I use it pretty consistently. Out of all the hyaluronic acids, I actually use that the most.
Great product, pure high weight, does a good job, has a limited ingredient list, does what you need it to do. And the Inculus one has Matrix L 3000, which is a bunch of peptides that also have anti-aging properties. So good blend.
All right. So hyaluronic acid, hundreds of dollars too much?
Yeah, I would say less than $50, I guess, if you want to splurge. Now, you can splurge on this Barbara Sturm product. I have no problem with that. I'll leave an affiliate link so you can splurge on it. I'm just kidding, I won't. But basically, if you want to splurge on it, you can, but it's not where I would spend my money.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have expensive moisturizers.
There's certain categories of skincare products where you really just don't need to go overboard on. Now, I'm a big moisturizer guy. That's like my thing. As a matter of fact, everyone's double cleansing. I've said this in the past. I'm like a double moisturizer. I love finding a good, rich, thick moisturizer, thick 2Cs. Love it. Absolutely love it. However, you don't really need to spend a lot of money on it. Now, I've said in the past, my first moisturizer ever was the CeraVe Moisturizing Cream. Still love it. Still has my heart. However, what about products that are like $500 in their moisturizers? What do you think about those?
Okay. We said also like cleansers. You shouldn't spend a lot of money on cleansers. Should be really simple. Moisturizers falls into that same category for me. Like you can get tons of great ingredients within a pretty inexpensive moisturizer.
Hint, La Mer, for example, the La Mer moisturizing cream, which gets a lot of attention from celebrities for some reason. And some people love it. $500 for a moisturizer that's almost identical to most moisturizers? It's not going to do it for me.
No way. It's not. Let's go over some of the ingredients that we don't like.
So, for example, I personally don't like a lot of fragrant ingredients in my leave-on products. Now, a lot of people don't have allergy to fragrance. So 96%, it depends on how you look at it, if you're an optimist or a pessimist, right? So 96% of people do not have an allergy to fragrance. Now, on the other hand, about 4% of people do. So let's say we have, let's say 1 million people watch this video, right? Then 40,000 people may have an allergic reaction to fragrance. And so for me, I just don't really like having a lot of fragrance in my leave-on products just because it increases the risk of allergy and irritation without it having a lot of benefit. I think we can agree on that, right?
Yeah.
It does add to the experience, but I think it increases the risk of allergy irritation. So this has a lot of fragrant ingredients: limonene, linalool, fragrance.
And then there was lime peel as well. And then also, just D-limonene or limonene in general. This is kind of like synonymous for tea tree oil, which it's great for what it does, but not here as a leave-on and possible irritant allergen.
Yeah, so a lot of allergens, irritants, and it's otherwise a pretty basic moisturizer that has like seaweed as like the main ingredient in it. So I think you can find a lot of dupes for it that are gonna just do equally as well at moisturizing your skin and having all the benefits that you're looking for.
So, simple ones that I like, actually, I've really liked is the La Roche-Posay. They have a couple. The Tuluene Ultra is great. And then the Lipicar, I've actually got this Lipicar balm. It is stone cold empty. So I've gone through a couple of these throughout the winter. I really like this one.
This is a super thick moisturizer too that's going to do very similar to La Mer cream. And one of the ones I've been obsessed with this winter, like blown away. As a matter of fact, anybody I've recommended this to has also been blown away by this product, the Skin Fix Triple Lipid Peptide Moisturizing Cream. I know I've mentioned it in the past. Phenomenal. It's so good. But, maybe not for everybody, and it's a little bit pricier actually, to be honest. It's more in like the $50 range, I want to say, which is a little pricey for a moisturizer. I'm usually in more like the $20 range for moisturizers, but in my opinion, worth it. So it gets this, but it's not $500. So
so it's relatively cheap.
Relatively, still 10th the price of La Mer. So if you want you want to splurge a little bit on a moisturizer, I would go with Skin Fix.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, I have to do this his way. So recently I've realized that I've gone through 2 of this Lipicar balm. Oh my mind. It's incredible. It changed my life. Lipicar balm, A+.
Also worth noting, and this is actually extremely critical, this one dermatologist did this extremely interesting study about expensive moisturizers versus cheaper moisturizers. And what they actually found was that the expensive moisturizers had more allergens and irritants in them than the cheaper moisturizers. So just keep that in mind. There's actually some data that shows that the allergenicity potential of expensive moisturizers is actually higher than the cheaper moisturizers. All right, next up, expensive oils. So this guy is the king of skin oils. Let's set the stage here. He loves skin oils. So the question is, do you need an expensive skin oil?
So, I grew up with essential oils. I've grown into fixed oils, not the same. And you should not be spending hundreds of dollars or any extraordinary amount on an oil for your skin.
So, oils, where do they even go in your skincare routine if you're going to use an oil by itself?
They would just go in as your last step.
As a last step, it basically locks in the rest of your routine. May have some benefits. Some of the oils do have benefits. Which oils do we like?
So, okay, there are actually a lot that I like. Let's just pick 3. So we'll go with jojoba oil. I know when you're going to pick, so I'm not going to say that one. So I'll say I actually kind of like rosehip oil in theory. Believe it or not, I like it. And then you can go with grapeseed oil. I'm actually high on grapeseed oil right now.
I like those oils as well. Squalane. I like argan.
There it is.
What else? What about safflower oil?
Yeah, that's a great one. Hard to find. It's probably underutilized in the industry. Actually, I haven't found a product that's just like safflower oil. Boom.
And then what oils do we not like?
Okay, well, there's one I hate. Y'all know this. It's olive oil.
Olive oil is just terrible.
Doesn't belong on the skin.
Doesn't belong on the skin, but great for the heart.
Great for the heart. You eat it. It's great.
Not great for the skin. All right, so we agree that there's a couple oils that we do like, and there's a couple oils that we don't like. But do you need to spend over $100? For example, True Botanicals has a product called the Pure Radiance oil. Now it's got some good oils in it. Let's take a look at the list.
Yeah, and it's a long list, so forgive us for reading it.
So a couple oils that we already mentioned that we like: jojoba, safflower, pumpkin seed is actually good for hair growth, argan oil, grapeseed oil, sunflower oil, a bunch of good oils that we like, squalane, but then some of the ones that are a little bit more irritating, things like lavender oil, things like rosemary, limonene, linalool. Actually, black seed oil is actually another great one that actually has a lot of benefits. And it has olive oil, which actually disrupts the skin barrier, as we know from patients that we've studied with eczema. So overall, for over $100, not a bad product, not something that I would recommend to people.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of kicker here. Not a bad product. I like the combination. There's a lot of plus side kind of in it, but is it worth the money? This is just the overpriced game, and it's overpriced in my opinion.
Right. I think just pick one skin oil if you want to use a skin oil. So instead of spending like $100, you could just get some from The Ordinary.
Yeah, and The Ordinary, this is why I like them. You can be deliberate, pick one oil for a pretty inexpensive price. They're cold pressed, which is important, so you can go there and kind of shop around.
Right. So I've seen, marula oils that cost like $80 when you can find marula oil from The Ordinary for like less than $10. I've seen other oils that can end up being very expensive. Squalane you can just get from Biossance, which is a little bit pricier, but it's a nice product and it's derived from sugarcane. You have to be aware that if you're not paying attention to where your squalane is coming from, it could be coming from sharks. But there's a lot of ones that are actually like plant derived. So look at that if you care about that. I don't want all the sharks to die because of my skincare products. And so I prefer plant derived squalane.
Yeah, I don't want them to eat me, but I don't want them to die by any means.
He surfs, so he has like a love-hate relationship with the sharks.
Yeah, it's true. I guess like burgers, I love them, but one day they're gonna get me.
Overall, expensive skin oils, no.
No.
It's going to be a no for me. Save your money on that. And then in our next video, we'll talk about skincare products that are actually worth the splurge.
Yep, that will be coming soon.
And I'm going to be wearing my top hat for that and my monocle.
Yeah, and I'm going to look nice.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate coming on this journey with us.
Yeah, as always, appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for the comments.
You guys are like the most supportive group of people.
It's amazing.
Ever. We love you guys. Please keep leaving comments. We do our best to respond when we get a chance. Sometimes we'll respond like weeks later. So hopefully we'll be able to do more videos, more Q&As coming soon. So stay tuned. Thank you guys.
Yeah, so this is kind of like overpriced skincare. Like, it's expensive, it looks nice, it doesn't do anything for me, but...
That's actually a good point. So, like, at what point do we just like do things for like luxury?
Exactly. If you look at it and you say like, oh, this fits in with who I am, go for it. This watch makes me feel good about my wrist.
It's just like buying a nice car, buying a nice house. Like, is it necessary? Does another car get you from A to B? Sure. But you may want a nicer car.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay. That's totally okay. Fair. Do we recommend them? No. But you can have them.
And so if you've been hearing like this, I don't know, it sounds like a chirping, a croaking. This time it's real. This time it's actually frogs outside the window.
It's really annoying. Actually, I can hear frogs this whole time. Maybe our mic won't pick it up. I don't know.
We're hoping.
But it's loud for us. So you may hear some frogs.
Every other time, it's not been an animal. It's just been something random that the mic picked up.